Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. We bring psychological and emotional topics to you in digestible, non overly jargoned form. We try to do that as often as we can. If there's a topic you'd like to see us discuss, please feel free to comment below and also subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. We're trying to get to a place where we can help people with the COVID virus recovery stuff. We need to monetize the channel first, which means we need 1,000 subscribers. If you can help, share this on social media, get us there, that would be awesome. In any event, we're going to talk today about toxic leadership. So we've all had a leader who's like full of themselves and they maybe just don't have the right vision to be a leader. But how do you know if you're dealing with toxic leadership? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. There's about 6 or 7 things I want to go over in that way. And we've all had somebody, but we may not realize that there are some common things that toxic leaders have in common on a consistent basis. Like they always or almost always do these things. Nobody ever always or nevers. So always is too far, but almost always. That applies. And so the first thing is they're a bad listener. So a toxic leader is a person who thinks that they're always right. They think that their opinion's the only one that counts. They don't see value in the viewpoints of others on their team or others in the workplace or others in any environment, and so they don't even like when somebody else is talking. They might as well turn up "We're not gonna take it," ding 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 ding, and blast that along, right? Because they don't care. They're not going to take your opinion. They're not going to take your criticism. They're not going to take your viewpoint. They don't care about anything other than their vision, no matter how narrow or wide, and that is their focal point. So in concert with that, they're not humble at all. A good leader is humble. They realize that any accomplished project, goal, objective is at the hands of leadership that understands the value of teamwork, cooperation, corporate vision, and the like. A bad leader, yeah, they're not humble enough to see that. They don't want to see that. They may even be narcissistic or very ego-driven or a combination of both. They may only focus on how things affect them, and at the end of the day, they're not willing to do the third thing, which is share credit. Look, it doesn't matter how big or small a company is. Once you involve a second person, that person deserves some of the credit for every accomplishment made by an organization, group, team, or etc. This is because if they weren't on the team, they wouldn't be able to contribute, and therefore, if they aren't contributing at all, you wouldn't keep them on the team. So if they're still there, that means they have some value, even if you're underestimating it, undervaluing it, or the like. At the end of the day, the important thing to remember is that the concept of sharing credit will help people stay on a team, and if a team continues to grow, that's a good thing because that means the business or objectives of the group can be obtained in an easier format. Now, the next thing is they micromanage everything. You ever dealt with a person who thinks that they're the only person that can do something right, and they don't want to hear your opinions, views, or an alternative way of doing anything? Yeah, that's a micromanager. And micromanaging doesn't work out well for anybody. Now, there are cases where you have to micromanage a new employee or someone who's not getting a certain topic, but usually this happens in small doses. Usually this happens in a constructive environment where you can give them advice or counsel on how to change what they're doing so that they can become self-sufficient. If you have a manager who doesn't focus on self-sufficiency of employees, or a team leader who doesn't accentuate the positives of every individual member of a team as individuals, you're dealing with bad leadership. So the next thing here is they're very hot-headed and emotionally driven. Bad leaders make decisions through how they feel about things. Good leaders will make decisions on based on maybe some gut instinct, but predominantly how the action they take will affect their impact on the business, but also everyone interlinked with the business team, group, or idea. And so a good leader isn't hot headed. They don't work from emotionalism, they work from either previous experience or working backwards from the goal to the point where they are. Those are the type of leaders that are good. A bad leader is only going to care how they feel more than anything else, and that leads to another thing, which is abuse of power. Leaders have power, leaders have authority, or perception thereof. And when a person begins to abuse that or use it without actually doing anything, that is abuse of power. And a bad leader, a toxic leader, is always going to abuse their power because they believe they're unchallengeable. They believe they're unpenetrable. And if once a person believes this, they have to be knocked down. You're not going to talk a lot of sense to them. They have to be knocked down and reminded that they are a cog in the wheel. They're not the whole wheel. Final thing is they become a doormat. They become ineffective. They let other people lead, and they delegate and take credit only when they have to poke their head out of their office. These are individuals who don't really care about a project. They care about the credit given, but they don't care about the project, and they want to get away with doing the least amount of work possible. These are toxic leaders who usually are in larger corporations and corporate positions, because the misnomer within larger businesses, I can earn my way to a point where I have to do less. That is a horrible way to do business, but it happens a lot. So these are signs of toxic leadership. If you're dealing with a toxic leader and it's affecting your work life or something like that, or it's affecting a hobby and you want to be able to navigate it differently, I do work with folks on those type of issues all the time. Please feel free to reach out at PO Perception on Twitter and or right here on YouTube in the mailbox, and usually can get back to you within a couple of days. Until next time, everybody.